们现在正在努力，是不是可以把这个外资啊，真正的外资，比如说到日本啊，我们希望这个日本的企业是不是因为跟台湾很特别的这样的一种经贸跟地缘的关系啊，可以到我们这边来这个上市募集资金。
台湾证券交易所除了积极赴海外招商，也鼓励并协助台商及外国企业来台上市。
我们过去这1年多来，我们第一个，我们觉得过去在海外经营有成的台商，尤其是在中国大陆，他们没有办法回到台湾证券交易所来上市。我们把这一个限制把它打开了，结果是非常的好。
民国51年在台湾成立的宜兰食品工业股份有限公司，78年以旺旺品牌在大陆注册商标，成为领先的食品集团。旺旺于民国98年正式发行台湾存托凭证 TDR。
相信 TDR 的发行对于公司中长期有非常实质性的帮助，因为例如我们的筹资管道增加，第二，我们也觉得在不仅台湾的投资人、外资也能够在台湾买到我们旺旺的上市公司的股票，我们也觉得这个是一个筹资多元化的一个非常重要的一个成果。
目前在东南亚几个主要交易所，超过130家台湾的企业在那边挂牌，所以这个状况之下呢，我们便要思考，那么如何考虑说已经在海外的这些交易所挂牌的企业，他愿意来台湾筹募资金的话，这个是我们努力的目标。
台湾证券交易所一直扮演着台湾经济成长的最佳推手，提供资本市场发展的良好平台。
我们很希望，凡是需要募集资金的企业，不管是本国企业、外国企业，他会觉得到台湾交易所来上市，他可以募集到最多的这个资金。然后从投资人啊，包括我们本国的投资人，还有这个外国的这个投资人，他觉得到台湾交易所来啊，从事直接的投资，这是一个很理想的，对于他的资产的配置啊，或者是财富的管理，是一个最好的地方。
鼓动台湾经济发展的力量，台湾证券交易所。
In 1958, the ROC government adopted a policy of promoting agriculture to foster industry and utilizing industry to develop agriculture. The Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Economic Affairs launched a series of reforms, dispatching a delegation to observe overseas security markets. In 1960, the Securities and Exchange Commission was established.
The establishment of the Taiwan Stock Exchange was tied to the land reform in the 1950s. At that time, 4 major state-owned enterprises were privatized. In order to manage these outstanding stocks following the privatization, TWSE was founded.
The Taiwan Stock Exchange, TWSE, began operations in 1962. In conformity with the prevailing trends at that time, transactions on Taiwan's centralized securities markets were carried out on an open trading floor.
In the beginning, there were about 60 people on the floor, shouting out prices all the time. The floor was so noisy that you had to use gestures for fear of misunderstanding the transactions. As for the gestures, this means 1,000, this means 10,000, and that means 9,000, 8,000, etc. When you bid, your palm would be facing toward yourself. When you asked, it'd be facing outward. If you wanted to buy 5,000 shares of Taiwan Cement, you'd go to their counter and make the sign for 5,000. They'd know you'd placed an order of buying 5,000 shares.
To meet the needs of the changing market environment, the trading system has progressed through several evolutionary phases. In 1972, a pit auction system was adopted.
When the daily volume exceeded 3 billion NT dollars in 1983 or 84, the clearing department of TWSE and the settlement department of the securities firms had to work until dawn.
Following the takeoff of Taiwan's economy, the domestic financial and securities activities also warmed up. The original open trading floor had gradually become obsolete. On September 29, 1988, a computer-aided trading system was adopted in the centralized market.
In 1988, the authorities completely revised the Securities Exchange Act, lifting and loosening many of the controls and restrictive measures previously imposed on the market. The lifting of restrictions on the establishment of securities firms was a milestone, among others.
In 1988, the authorities revised the laws governing the establishment of securities firms from the restricted to a permit system, and thereby the number of securities firms surged from 14 to 374. With a fully automated trading system implemented and more convenient trading channels provided, the number of investors also increased dramatically, from 630,000 in 1987 to 5 million in 1990. The TAIEX reached a high of 12,682 points. Little Taiwan's trading volume was once ranked the second highest in the world.
TWSE not only launched its computerized trading system earlier than its counterparts in Europe, the USA, and Japan, but also experienced a very smooth development process. The system has been quite stable and built up the trust and acceptance of securities firms and investors.
To keep up with the rapidly growing economy and stock market, TWSE initiated the Securities Centralized Depository and Book Entry Settlement Systems and has been continuously reforming the clearing system.
In 1995, TWSE implemented a compulsory book entry system for shares and payment settlement, which improved the efficiency of clearing and settlement and enhanced the risk control mechanism of securities firms.
Vigorous trading activities in the stock market were accompanied by the expansion of the securities primary market. During the rapid growth period of the Taiwan economy, TWSE also played the role of a fundraising channel, supporting the robust growth of traditional industries in the manufacturing sector. Founded in 1972, Giant established an internationally renowned group, specializing in the production of bicycles, from export-oriented OEM to the creation of its own brand.
Giant has been making profits every year since the listing. Things like the enhancement of corporate name recognition and visibility, easier staff recruiting, upgraded brand image, as well as more accessible social resources. These are all benefits derived from the listing.
In the wake of the economic transition of Taiwan and the global village, high-tech companies have emerged as the dominant industry in the stock market. Established in 1971, Delta Electronics Incorporated started its business with only 15 employees. It is now the largest manufacturer of switching power supply devices in the world.
When Delta listed on TWSE, our revenue was 2.8 billion NT dollars. After 2 decades, Delta boosted revenue to reach 142.6 billion NT dollars in 2008, 51 times the amount earned when listed.
After the listing, the company has paid more attention to social responsibility and corporate governance. Delta was the first company to publish a report of corporate social responsibility, the so-called CSR.
Delta puts great emphasis on the transparency of corporate finance. To enable investors to fully understand our business operations, Delta took the lead in publishing consolidated financial statements, even before the requirement was introduced by the related regulations.
Established in 1976 with startup capital of only 1 million NT dollars, Acer's market value had reached more than 200 billion NT dollars in 2008.
Thanks to a cluster effect of the global leading technology enterprises in the Taiwan securities market, it is easier for these technology companies such as Acer, to raise the funds needed for expansion and operations from the Taiwan market. This phenomenon has contributed to the international growth of Acer in the past several years.
Given the numerous outstanding high-tech companies, Taiwan's stock market is attractive to many domestic and foreign investors. The authorities have adopted a series of deregulation policies, step by step, to allow foreigners to invest their funds in the market.
A key point after the deregulation for overseas Chinese and foreigners to invest in the domestic stock market in